giving them. They are seeking for much more than that. Most of them are intellectuals behind them. There is nobody who is semi-literate amongst the Boko Haram. So don't be carried away by this label that they don't want Western education. They educated people. There are three sides to this. There are those who are political, who felt that they have to continue ruling and they will make this government ungovernable. There's an element of that. There are those who are fundamental, fanatical believers. That's another. So you must marry the two. My point is this: is that in absence of addressing the real problem, these interventions will become inevitable. That today you will be pointing the fire here, smoke here, putting the smoke here, off smoke here. You'll be doing that next. The issue is that we really need to sit down and discuss.
All right.
If you avoid that, we'll be making a mistake. And I'm happy. Yesterday, the Arewa House, which is the think tank of, came out with a communique. And in the communique, they themselves are now agreeing. You see, because if we do not use the head, we will keep on running round and round. And they have come up. Nigeria's federalism has been misconceived, misinterpreted, leading to unacceptable mode in the distribution of resources. So this is a fundamental problem.
The question now is this: if you were head of state,
yes,
what extent would you go to accommodate people seeking self-determination, especially when it threatens, when you think it threatens the unity of the country?
Good. I'm not head of state to start with, but what I would say is, what does strategic leadership offer? First, every human being has the right to determine which country he wants to live in. Even in a federal, if in America today, a state tells us, say, look, we want to be on our own, they have a right. We have it happening in UK, which is not even a federalism. Scotland wants to opt out. They give it a chance. So let us not be myopic. I'm sorry, with all respect. You have to understand what democracy means.
But you know the way they are given the chance.
Pardon?
Yes, you talked about Scotland.
Yes, they were given a chance.
They're not taking people's lives.
I'll tell you, they were those who took people's lives.
No,
Northern Ireland.
You talk about Sinn Féin,
Northern Ireland. No, you're taking me to an example where people are forced. Scotland have always been given a chance. Anytime they ask, remember initially they gave them independence, parliament. Yeah. Now they're asking for more, they're giving them. Nobody will say close. But in Ireland, when they weren't given, they resorted to arms.
But in this case, if while considering this request,
yes,
in terms of amnesty,
yes,
what happens to those who are taking other people's lives?
Thank God. You see, usually, if we are not going to pay lip service to what amnesty is, amnesty, to be meaningful and to be proper amnesty, goes side by side with truth and reconciliation.
Truth and
reconciliation, proper.
In this case,
I'm just saying amnesty always goes. You see, if you look at the cases in South Africa and Northern Ireland, one case was that the victims were compensated, not the perpetrators, and the victims were asked by Desmond Tutu, international people were brought in to face those who hurt them. And this is towards having proper truth and reconciliation. In South Africa, it was the case. So, having said that, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that once you are in encounter insurgency and you are getting to the point where you're almost achieving your aim, you must not close all the doors. You must leave door. And one of the doors they are suggesting is for amnesty.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about what would you recommend while considering this amnesty?
Yes.
Be done. We got lives that are involved here.
Be done to what?
Those who are taking other people's lives. Because in the case of MEND,
yes,
they said the agitation at that time was not about taking people's lives.
Agreed.
But in this case, it's different.
Yes.
So can you apply the same amnesty procedure for this particular one? Will it work?
Amnesty? No, not the same procedure. There is distinction. One, it's like, I'll use the examples. You know the Red Brigade? You heard of the Red Brigade? In Japan and Germany.
Yeah.
And then you also have the Viet Congs. One is somebody whose inalienable right was deprived. I think Niger Delta people, their rights were deprived, because you tell a man that the resources below the ground where he lives is not his. It is the biggest fraud, and any human being will continue to fight for that. And it's not surprising that you cannot deal with the issues of vandalization and oil theft, because you are telling a man whose resources have been taken, and now we now hear 80% of that resources is by people who are far away from his land, and you are asking him that he should be law-abiding.
Isn't it from the same region where you talked about, I think this press release was talking about an unacceptable division of resources?
Yes.
So one wonders, how does that fit in light of your revelation now?
How does what fit?
How does this comment, where they talk about unacceptable division of resources in the last year in the country, and then now you talk about the oil blocks coming from far away from where it actually is?
Good.
So it's lopsided.
No, because what they are saying here is distribution and sharing of the cake. They are not talking of the baking.
Sharing of the cake.
Yeah, distribution. You see, we've turned federalism. At the heart of federalism is baking the cake. You don't see people in America, governors going to Washington to go and share or distribute resources. So what they are asking for is what is causing the problem. And yesterday, one of the senators said that federalism means that they own the oil. Don't be mistaken. Nobody owns the oil, but the German or the Robo man or the Igbo man who owns the oil. All he owes Nigeria and everything is tax. The fact that you are now claiming his oil and saying Nigeria owns his oil is the problem.
Okay.
Just as we run up here, what steps, what kind of amnesty should be done? What are the steps that should be done?
First of all, let me say, I did say earlier that I use 3 levels, which is the 3 levels of what is at the surface, the way the smoke comes out of the hole, the vents that links to the source of the fire. So let me say this, because
please also remember the area of justice for lives taken.
Pardon?
Remember also the area of justice for lives taken.
Justice for life taken. Good. Now, I did say, as a response, in other words, operationally, especially as I give credit to the National Security Services and the NSA, and of course to Jonathan, because unlike a former president who used all the force, and in fact the court has now declared Unudi, excessive force was used in the Jonathan, for one thing, he may look whatever he looks. The way he's managed this crisis will be commendable. People will commend him after. In that, force alone never works. And if you watch, in all this, you see, the military men who have been in trenches never recommend force. The Sultan was an officer in the armored corps. He knows what it is, what force is. And the soldiers who are sacrificing their life now in Yobe, in Maiduguri, know that the politicians have to solve the problem. So, at that level, I'm saying that amnesty is the next step to conclude it. But having said that, the fundamental things that Jonathan and the Senate have to rise up to is the issue of giving the people a chance to decide how they want to live together.
All right, that's what we'll have to end it. Retired Colonel Tony Nyiam, thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
We're back after this. Join us again.
Need a bit of extra cash? Running out of space and need to get rid of some stuff? Well, why not sell it on OLX? It's really easy. Just log on to www.olx.com.ng. Click on Post a Free Ad, select the correct category, fill in the form, upload a picture of your item, and add your contact details. Then simply wait for a buyer to call you. It's that quick and easy. And it's free. olx.com.ng.
Everything sells. Everything sells.
The Community Parliament will leave no stone unturned to ensure that no part of this sub-region is surrendered to nefarious and anti-democracy interests in whatever guise they may come. We must spare no legitimate steps to reinforce the quest for lasting peace, security, democracy, and good governance.